Hello, hello, hello. I am so excited to be here today with you. It is freezing in sunny South Florida. It's 55 degrees, 25-mile-an-hour winds, and rain. So it is definitely winter here, but I am nice and cozy inside and here to talk to you about how in the heck do you actually work smarter as a woman entrepreneur with a to-do list that's probably this long, right? And this is the thing is we hear this phrase. There's so many phrases, right? Work smarter, not harder. Like do this, do that. And do you ever say to yourself like that's great advice, but how in the heck do I do that? I had the same thought back in 2010, and that's why today I am sharing with you the breakdown on how to actually work smarter as a woman entrepreneur so we can stop working so darn hard. So, hey there, my name is Salen. I am your fun business coach, and I mentor women from burned out to balanced in just 90 days with my unique blueprint called the Legacy Business System. This is the exact system that I used in my franchise business to go from working 80 plus hour weeks to just 16, tripling my business revenue and 4xing my personal paycheck. And now I mentor women entrepreneurs how to implement this blueprint into your unique business so it can work for you, so you can work smarter, not harder. So let's talk about this phrase, work smarter, not harder. All of these phrases that rhyme or have that alliteration or whatever it is, like they sound good on memes or little, wooden plaques on your desk or, on great things on your vision board and all of those kinds of things. But when you sit down as a woman who's working 50 plus hour weeks and you say to yourself, but how in the heck do I work smarter? Like, how do I implement that when nothing I've done so far works? It can seem a little frustrating. I was in your shoes in 2010. I started my first business. It was a senior home care franchise in 2007, and I built it to the $1 million revenue in 2010. But unfortunately, in order to get to that $1 million revenue level, I was working 80 plus hour weeks. No matter what I did, I couldn't figure out how to continue to grow my business without working so many hours. And the problem was, I wanted to grow past $1 million and I had no more hours to give. I was at 80 hours a week. I was maxed out, exhausted, fatigued, frustrated, and really just kind of starting to get down on myself. And to be honest, and I know I wouldn't admit this back then, but I was ready to hang up that for sale sign and say, I am done. And it was all because something had to change. And so one regular day, a caregiver called in sick, and that really propelled me forward to make a change because I hit that breaking point. I met with a coach, and that coach like basically took everything I had been thinking for the last 3 years and I kind of vomited on him. He was like, what's going on? And I was like, for probably like an hour, right? Here's all my problems. Like, you think you're so smart? Like, here you go. And after I threw up all of my problems and concerns and issues and all of those things kind of on him, he broke it down really into three things. And one of those things was working smarter, not harder. And I was like, yeah, that's great. But how in the heck do I do that? And what he said basically is you need systems. He's like, Selen, the reason that people are banging on your open door constantly, more like a revolving door, is because you don't have systems. The reason that everyone asks you questions 24/7 is because you don't have systems. The reason you're working so many hours is because you don't have systems. The reason that you're not growing your revenue is because you don't have systems. And I was like, but I do. And he was like, but obviously you don't. And I was like, Okay. And so really what I did was figure out, how do I make better systems, right? And this really took me blocking off some time on my calendar. So this is the whole another saying, slow down to speed up, right? But I really had to block out some time on my calendar and just look at a system. So the first one that I started with was we would send our client care coordinator out to meet with potential clients. And there was a system, right? Like the phone would ring. Someone would be on the phone, like a family member, saying, "Hey, I need help from my mom. This is what's going on." The person on the phone would take the information, and then they would book a call for the client care coordinator to go out and meet with the family and the potential client. Well, we had a basic system, which was basically like answer the phone and give the person the information so they could go out and do their job. But it wasn't a great system. So that was the first thing I started with. And I started with from the moment the phone rang and what we really needed to get during that phone call. Because here's the thing, at the time, yes, I had a client care coordinator who did a lot of those meetings with clients, but I was still doing a lot of those meetings myself because either they didn't work in her schedule or, we had two booked at the same time. And so I was feeling that frustration myself with this lack of system that we had. I would see the meeting pop up on my calendar and it wouldn't even have like the location. And I would be on one side of our territory and needed to get to the other side. And it would be like, oh my gosh, like I don't have time to get there, or this is what's going on. And so I really started at the beginning of that system from when that phone call came in. And I was like, what information do we need to get during that phone call in order to set up that in-person client meeting for as much success as possible? And so I really just took some time in the quiet, which back then, most of the quiet that I got was after everyone went home at 5 o'clock. I would kick off my shoes and I would sit at my desk and I had some quiet. And I really thought about, okay, what do we need in order to have a successful meeting? And I went through all of those steps and I redid that process. I wrote out the system. I even put together a folder because when we'd go out and meet with the client, we would bring some like marketing material. We had some forms, we had contracts, like all of those kinds of things. And so I redid the system. And then what I did was the next time that I was going out on one of these calls is I followed the system. And it was like, did my system work or not? Like if it wasn't me doing this call right now, could anyone in my office, right? Whether it be my HR person, my recruiter, my secretary, no matter who it was, the marketing person, whoever the heck it was, could they go out and do this based upon the system that I put together? And what I realized is I kind of missed a couple of things, but I had also gone too much in depth on a couple of things, right? I think Amazon is a great example of like totally maximizing systems, right? Think about back in the day when you went on Amazon, you would have to import. When you were ready to buy, you would input like your name, your address, your credit card number, and then they figured out how to save that information. And you would still have to put things in the cart. And now you don't even have to like put things in the cart. You can just literally like swipe and buy. So they have made the system as easy as possible for anyone to purchase and taken out all the stuff you don't know, with it still being effective and simple. And so when I went out and did that, I realized, okay, this is the system. I need to make a little couple tweaks. And so I went back to the office and I made those tweaks while it was fresh in my mind. And then the next time I went on that call, I followed that system again. And I said to myself, wow, this is like pretty close, right? Like anyone could probably do this. So I went back to the office again, made those couple tweaks, and then I used it again. And I was like, this is it. This is the system. From the moment that phone rings, we need this information to set the person up for success in order to go out to that home and have the most successful outcome, right? Because our goal was to sign them up for service. And we want to make sure that if we were sending out for an hour of her time, that we were going to get that client. And so we needed to set her up for success. And so once I had that system down, that's when we could start working smarter, right? And so then what I needed to do as the leader is I not only needed to use that system, but I needed to now retrain my team on that system. And I needed to make sure that from the moment that phone rang, that they were using the client intake, like phone system, right? So we had a system for that. And then the in-person meeting system, so that the whole process was seamless. And I went on to set up a new client system. When that person came back from that meeting, what did she do with that folder of information? This is how we started to have better quality phone calls, better conversions with our in-person meetings, and much more successful new client starts. Because I recognized that the system I had put in place was okay when I was doing it all myself, because I kind of could wing it and just figure it out because I knew what I needed to kind of get it done, even though if I didn't have it fully prepped. But when I had my team start doing these things, I could no longer have crappy systems if I wanted us to work smarter. What this allowed us to do was not only have better phone calls to convert into potential meetings, right? So our client to phone call conversion rate went up. Our meeting to new client conversion went up. And then our onboarding of new clients increased, happiness, client success, satisfaction increased, but also my profitability increased, right? Because the people on the phone were getting the right information for the person going out to meet with them. The person going out and doing the in-person meeting was getting the right information for the people who were going to go out and introduce the client to the caregivers, and the caregivers were going to have a better experience. And so all of a sudden, my hours that it took for this whole process to happen were reducing, because we had a system that worked and everyone was following it, which meant that I was increasing my profitability, not just because it was taking them less time, but because we were increasing our conversions, because it was like everyone had it down pat. We knew what we were doing. And so that is how we started to work smarter. So I want you to think about, in your business, what is a system that either you do quite often, so it's a system you use like all the time, right? Like we got phone calls into our office like every single day. So that was one of our top systems. Or what is a system that your team is using, right? Very, very often, where you could be working smarter. It could increase your profitability by reducing your hours because it's not taking you so long because you have everything lined up. Or it's increasing your conversions like it did for me, because you know exactly what questions to ask and how to make that happen. Now, I'll tell you, when you start working smarter, that's when you start to grow your business without working more hours. And that's what we all want, right? And so the concept here that I'm trying to get across to you is that working smarter is not just a cute little saying, right? It's not something we all want to strive for. It's a must in business. And you need to figure out in your business, what is the system that's causing you to work harder, the one you use the most often, that you can improve like today, right? It's 2 o'clock Eastern. We have plenty of time to improve a system today that you could potentially start seeing increased revenue and or less working hours, right? Working smarter, like the next time you use it. So let me know in the comments if you found this helpful. If you are finding this helpful, then I want to invite you to subscribe to my weekly newsletter. I've had 2 editions go out so far. It's brand new for 25. It is the Sunday Shift We're Sailing, where every week I am diving deep into one business strategy that allowed me to literally grow a multi-million-dollar business in 16-hour weeks. My franchise generated over $17 million while I worked 16-hour weeks. And so I'm diving deep into all of these strategies every single week in my newsletter. You're getting some inspiration in there too, because we all need that. Plus, I'm giving you one simple action step to take in your business that's related to the strategy, right? And then I'm giving you some sort of tool or resource or something that you can use in order to make this shift in your business easier. And so if you're not on my email newsletter yet, comment email. I'll send you the link so you can sign up, or it is in the description. But this week, I want you to really think about what is the one system in your business that could totally increase your revenue without you doing more work and actually doing less work, because you would fine tune it for either you and or your team. So if you found this helpful, as always, sharing is caring. Please share it with other women in business who you know could use this impactful information, or comment some friends below who you think should see this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the Sunday Shift with Sailing. The next newsletter goes out on Sunday morning, and I want you to get this information. If you have any questions at all, or if you're looking to work with a business coach in 2025 so you can literally start working smarter and not harder, that's what I have my clients do. We get to the root of what's going on in your business. Then send me a DM and let's chat about my one-to-one coaching program. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your week. Stay warm wherever the heck you are. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll talk to you next week.